Good morning. My name is Mary Smith, and I'm going to introduce you to how we milk our goats, and we are going to be using a new tool to our machine, so we're going to show you that as well. I'm showing you the different things that we use to make this happen. And our focus is on this machine called the Easy Milker Ultimate, and this is the latest part of this machine, and it's actually very helpful. We use these bottles normally, but they only carry a quarter a piece, and with our goats we find that we transfer them from goat to goat until the bottle is full, and with that it wasn't as efficient. Okay, now we are in the barn, and we actually have the machine, which is in the tote, because we want to make sure it stays clean and predators away from it. There's a bucket of clean water for when we are finished, so that we can run the hoses through it to clean those as well. Yeah, those are clippers. We go and we clip our goats' nails when they get long. Those are the buckets that we're going to be using to start and finish our goats. This is our soapy water with towels in it, so that we can actually wash our goats. Here's the machine that we're going to be using. I'm going to hook that up in just a minute. These are two of our beautiful goats. The one closest to me is Spring, and the one on the other side is Shirley. Hi, girls. Now, this machine, or this setup that we have, is one that we created ourselves. And so it works very well because, if you can tell, the hooks across the top keeps the goats from taking walks when we're milking them. And we actually have them on a stand because they are so short that we can't get underneath them. That's why we have a board removed from between their feet, so that we can actually work with them quickly and effectively, because you can't really get a bucket underneath them. This is what I just pulled out of the tote and have it all ready to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hook it up. Okay, so we're going to plug it in. We're going to hook it up. And now we're going to place it where it belongs. Okay, so we now have the milk jug ready, our goats are ready, and we actually have our bucket ready. So what we're going to do now is we're going to clean the goats, because a clean goat means less mess. So we start with washing their udders, making sure they're clean. We also test them to make sure that they feel full and ready to go. I wash their tummies to get rid of the extra hair, any particles that shouldn't go down into our milk. I also wash their hooves. At this time, we also check to see that their hooves are in healthy condition. We make sure that everything is right. Sometimes they don't agree with me, but we watch that as we go. Now, we come over here, we turn on the machine, make sure that the clips are all closed so that there is a suction. Then we take this wonderful thing here. Now, if you notice, it is all plastic on the inside, soft, so it doesn't hurt them. So then we hook them up by pushing it on there. and then unclicking or releasing the latch on the bottom. Now, as you can see, these are now hooked up to their udders, and if you look, milk is coming through at the base. You can see it happening, and it's not just this goat, but the one over there as well. So we have two goats going on at the same time. They are not going into the buckets on the floor, they're going into the orange bucket that is also on the floor. And we will proceed to go through this with all of our goats. We only have 5. One of the things we do notice is if you look at the lines, you can see the milk actually being poured in down through the base with the suction that is happening. Okay, so spring is now finished. As you can tell, there's no more milk coming through the lines. And so what we're going to do is we're going to unhook her as well. And Shirley's already almost completely milked. She's going to be on her way. This way we can keep milking the goats at the same time and constantly keeping the machine going so that we can process a lot faster. So I'm going to unhook her as well. And you see the tops come off very easily. They just slide off. We just put them to the side, and then I finish off Spring here and then send her on her way. So we now have Laverne all hooked up, same machine, same thing. Because their teats are all different sizes, this is why we like using this one, because we have different sizes that we use. So this is Laverne. She's all hooked up. This is Lucy, her mother. And she's being hooked up right now. And as you can tell, the milk does flow. You can't really see it yet. So we're going to thump her once to get the milk going good. There we go. See? There's milk coming through. And look at the lines. As you can see, the lines actually show that the milk is flowing through the bottles. And it's going into the bottle, and the bottle is doing its job. Okay, so Laverne is actually done now. As you can tell, there's no more milk coming in through the lines. So we're going to disconnect her, and we're going to get her actually finished off, and we are going to send her on her way. At the same time, Lucy is still going, so we're just going to let her keep going. This is the advantage of using this machine, is that there is no pressure, no weight being pulled on them. So as you can tell, it's very light. There's no pressure on them. They just go as fast as they need to go, and then when they're done, we just close it up and disconnect. And if you notice, the disconnection was very easy. It just gently pulls off. So no pain, no frustration, and no kicking, because they're really good at kicking. So we're going to actually finish off Lucy. As you can tell, she's still got a little bit, or Laverne, she's got a little bit more milk in her. And when we get her milked, we're going to send up the next goat. Go ahead and pick your side. Where do you want to go? All right. So now that she's hooked up, I'm going to get her cleaned. But this is the thing about her, is that one of her teats is not exactly working, because of the fact that when she was giving birth to her triplets, or after, she had a milk duct that was all clogged, and it took me a while to get it unclogged. And in doing so, she doesn't provide much milk out of this side. But the other side, this is why she looks funny and lopsided, is because all the milk is coming out of that side. And she, the sweetheart that she is, tries her best. Now, the reason why we have stands like this is because if you notice, her legs are very short. These these containers are only this big. See this? And it's only this big. So there really isn't much give between. That's why we keep the bottle down there on the floor. Now the bottle is clean. The bottle is clean inside and out. I sanitized everything before we started. But we also have a stand here that we have, and it's at a lower step. So she has a way to jump up and over, because she is. Okay, so she's all hooked up. As you can tell, this side is up really tight on her, but that's because it is such a small teat. And this side is a much larger teat, and it's also hooked up. So there's no air going through them. So Sally here is our slowest milker. She's still going. Milk is still coming through. And as you can tell, the other ones are not being used because she's our last one of the day. So the other ones are closed. These are open, and we're actually milking her, and she's our only one, and that's okay. Okay, so to actually see how she is milked, all we do is start at the top and pull her and squeeze down gently. We don't yank on her, we don't pull on her, we just grab her with the thumb at the top and our fingers, and we just roll it down. And doing that, we get all the milk we can out of her without pain. Okay, as you can tell, the machine is still running. Everything's still suctioned. Everything's still hooked up. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because, as you can tell, there's milk still in here and there's milk in the lines. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this small container of water. And by the way, we do get milk. There's just not a whole lot of it. But that's what we get from our goats. But we're going to unhook all these and we're going to put them in the water. And we're going to suck up the water to clean the hoses. So I've released them. You can hear them gurgling. Just put them in. You see that working? Goes up. We only use a little bit. Pull, lift, let the water drain down, and we're done. It doesn't take very much water, and that way we're not thinning out the milk. But now the hoses are clean, so we can actually see there's still water left in there, and that's on purpose. So now we can take the lid off and we can wash the lid. So I turn off the machine, the lid comes off. If you notice, there's a little bit of milk left in there. So I take this and I swish it in the water that's left, and now it's clean and ready to be put away. And I just dump the rest of the water so it doesn't mix in with anything else that we have. See, it's all empty and it's ready to go back. Now, because we now have this taken apart, we're going to put it back inside the tote. Again, protection, because if you notice, our machine is all nice and still clean. The hoses are clean, the cap is clean, and everything's ready for tomorrow. Now, I put the machine in the tote, everything's in there, the tote is clean. I just put the lid on it. As you can tell, we do get animals and it gets dirty. So this is all protected. Now I'm ready to take everything else back. Okay, so we're back inside the kitchen. Now, this attachment is nice for when this bucket gets full to the top, because it gets heavy and you can't empty it. But because we have so little bit of milk in ours at this moment, we actually use this because then we can just pour the milk through it. Now, this is a filter that I make. I make it through lots of layers of cheesecloth, and in doing so, it actually catches quite a lot of the particles that shouldn't be in our milk. If you see, it has been this one has been washed a few times. It's a lot smaller. And what I do is I use this and this. Okay, so now we're going to pour the milk into the container. And thanks to this wonderful bucket, if you notice, there's very little in the way of particles that are left behind. That's our goal, is to leave as little as possible. But sometimes there's a hair or two that get away. That's why we still filter it. So we're going to finish doing this, and we're going to put it into the pan so that it can be pasteurized. Actually, we'll do that right now. So this is what I do. I put this over here. And I take my filter, and I fold it, and I put it on top, and then I take this container and I pour it in the pan. And then I do it again until the actual process is complete. So at 161, almost there. Now we want to actually make it say that it's 161. There it is, 161 degrees. We turn off the stove, pull it off. Okay, now that the milk is in the fridge, these are the only dishes that I have to wash. That's it. No more dishes. I don't have to wash all those bottles. I can actually get my hand into the bucket, so it makes it easy to clean. I don't have to use any scrub brush. All I have to do is pop this open and then just let the water flow. It is so much more convenient than using the bottles. Know that each day is a great day. Thank you.